What do a fishbowl, a diver, and a red ink mishap have in common? Apparently, today's cards. Today I'm going to be sharing 2 ways to frame an underwater scene. One's a frame with a shaker, and the other one is a light or a spotlight. The first one, we're actually going to be doing a shaker card. So when you are building a scene and you want to create something and frame it, you really do need to do a little bit of planning in advance. In particular, this card, I wanted to make sure that I could run my cardstock through a die cutting machine so that I could add the dimension after with this embossing folder. So I had to make sure that the window for my die cut was going to, well, the cardstock and the window were going to fit through my die cutting machine. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. This is going to be my fishbowl for the shaker card. Obviously, this doesn't have to be a shaker card. I just really enjoy making interactive cards, and who doesn't like bubbles underwater? So once I worked out where my cardstock was going to fit through my die cutting machine, I did put a mark on my cardstock, so that's where I'm going to cut it off a little bit later on. Then it was just a simple layering of the stencils. I did pick the wrong layer first. I probably should have started with the base layer, but it doesn't matter. I just reverse engineered it and added all the layers just on this right hand portion of the coral reef. Now, if I wasn't sure where to put the reef images, I could just simply lay the stencils over top or refer to the packaging or also the embossing folder that has all the details on it, because these do coordinate. I did keep a fairly simple color palette here today, but this is a coral reef, so you can make it as bright as you like. I like to sort of limit my color palette. I find it a bit easier when I'm creating. I don't have to think as hard, and plus I think it makes it easier to create coordinating designs when I'm making 2 at once using the same products. Now, I did want to mask this off so that I could ink blend the background around this cardstock. Obviously, you could keep it white or even start on a piece of colored cardstock here. But the reason for this was I wanted to add a waterline at the top of the fishbowl on the inside. You could just simply use some masking paper to do that, but this set of stencils has the coordinating little water level, which is really sweet. But that meant that I also had to mask the coral reef itself. So I just simply ran the masking paper with the embossing folder through my die cutting machine and then just did some quick fussy cutting around that. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but I'm going to show you how I fix it afterwards. Now, this is a very fine stencil, so I did hold it in place, or the finer bits of the stencil, I held them in place with the picker tool, and I probably could have used my grid mat here. It would have been a little bit helpful, but you'll see it does work out. I did use some colored pencils to add a little bit of extra detail near the end. One thing that did happen when I was doing the ink blending of this whole background was obviously I didn't allow enough time for the deep red colors to dry properly, and I found that it picked up in the ink blending tools, and I did get a little bit of red bloom around the corals. I actually was pretty because I used to do scuba diving, and I remember going diving on the coral reefs when the reefs were spawning, and you would see this like that kind of look where you had almost like a cloudy look above the corals. So I kind of feel like it was a happy accident. I kept building on the ink blending just to add some depth, and when I removed the mask, you could see that there's some little bits of white showing there. So I came in with a smaller or a mini ink blending tool with some ink on it, and that kind of covered that up really quickly. The other thing that helps that is the fact that I'm going to be running it through with the embossing folder. That's going to add some depth, and those white edges will be a little bit hidden once I've done that. I did have to snip away a little bit extra from the cardstock after I cut it down, just to help it fit into the embossing folder before I run it through my die cutting machine, which is really easy to do because this is coordinating stencil set. I could just simply line it up and then run it through. And here's where I use the pencils to just touch up a couple of the areas from the impression from the embossing folder where it just makes the cardstock show through, but also to help highlight the waves at the top of the waves in a fishbowl. It's a pretty rough fishbowl. But I saw Erin had made a really pretty card, and her design was very similar. I added some gouache dots. I think she probably did use those as well, but go and check her card out. It's beautiful. And then I just set that aside to dry. Of course, we need some fish in our fishbowl, and this is the layering die set, and it's really intuitive. It tells you on the dies what colour to cut them. I did add some ink blending to the fish, and I was thinking next time I'm going to change up the colour, because did you know that there are such a things as blue and black anemone fish? But personally, the orange ones are my favourite. I used to love seeing them when I was diving. I went to this anemone bay once, and the whole bay was just a sea of anemone fish, all hovering like just above their anemones. They were so beautiful. And I've got the largest nesting circle die, and I want to cut the top off and make it a fishbowl. To do that, I'm going to be doing some partial die cutting. So I'm just working out roughly how far I need to cut to. This whole panel, this square panel, is 5-inch squared, and the finished size of my card today is going to be 5.5-inch squared. Because I die cut with my dies facing upward, I do need to make some tick marks on the reverse side of my cardstock, and the piece that I want to cut away, I need to place that under the top plate. So the piece that I don't want cut is the piece that's sticking out the end there. Now these cutting plates do have a little lip on the end of them, like they have an angle so they won't cut right up to the very edge. So I did sneak my plate along just a little bit. That way I can actually run this whole sandwich through my die cutting machine, and it's not going to cut where the two plates don't meet together. And you can see there, that's going to be the top of the fishbowl. And to cut that away, I have a guide wire in my paper trimmer, and I just use that to cut away that top. You could easily do this with a craft knife and a metal ruler. This is where I need to add the acetate, otherwise I forget. Obviously this would look really cool without the acetate and not making it a shaker and just creating the focal point with that negative space, but I wanted the shaker. And I like to use a double thick foam tape. If you don't have this, you can actually double up the foam tape that you do have. And if you are making a shaker, just make sure that you create a full well. And what I mean by that is all the edges need to be touching so that the shaker bits don't fall out. To prep my base, I just added a matted layer onto the front of the card, and I am going to make my sentiment now because that's going to help me work out where I want to put the fish in my fishbowl. I have a total of 3 fish because I thought that'd be fun. And those waves at the top, I had this idea where I thought I might add like a jumping fish. I didn't want him escaping, so he's actually jumping back into the fishbowl. I think the clear sequins here look like bubbles, and I've just used quite a few of the smaller ones. And then hold my breath as I remove the foam tape, because that's when I usually end up with sequins on the foam tape, but I didn't do too badly here today with that. And then I could just add the fishbowl panel behind the shaker well, and that just seals that up, ready to go onto the front of the card. I also popped up the sentiment because I love dimension, as well as the panel. And then all I had left to do was attach the final fish. Now you see why there's waves. Another awesome underwater scene would be like using that coral reef and maybe having a light coming down from the top of the water or in through the reef itself, or maybe onto one of the other images from the set. But instead of doing that, we're going to be doing a spotlight reef technique. And again, you do need to plan in advance what you want to do. And I decided to literally have a spotlight coming from this diver and lighting up just one section of the reef. So that meant I had to think about where I wanted everything to be on my design. And I didn't want there to be any white cardstock, so I added a light layer of colour to the background and then used masking paper to create a wedge or a triangle that's going to come out from the diver's hand where the spotlight's going to be. So I needed to mask this section off because I want that to be lighter. So I came in and added all the different colours to create just a quick blue sea background. But when it came to adding my reef, I wanted to make sure that within the spotlight it was going to be nice and bright, but outside the spotlight it was going to be like in a shadow or darker. And the best way for me to do that was to use the same colours that I'd used in the ocean on the background. And it's going to look like their shadows. And the great thing here is I've already got my mask in place. I've already used this part of the stencil set before, so I already know how it works. So it's going to run a lot quicker. And it doesn't really matter. I did mix up a couple of the blue greens just to give it that variation. But when you remove the mask, this wedge of masking paper, it's totally blank. So to be able to add the rest of the reef, and the good thing here is I wasn't planning on using the embossing folder, so it doesn't exactly have to be perfect for my reef, but I can't exactly mask off each side of this because I won't know where to put the rest of the reef. I do want it to match up on both sides. So what I did instead was add the stencils back over top after cleaning them, and then just use some post-it note paper to protect my shadowed coral reef that's in the background. And I literally just built the same reef again, but using bright colours in amongst this. And I kind of focused these colours very similar to what my fish colours were on the previous card, just so that these two cards coordinate. But obviously you could add all the colours of a rainbow like there are with coral reefs. Now, you think I would have learnt from my first design, but I did get that blooming, or shall I call it coral spawning, happening again on this design. But that doesn't matter. I did come in and add some deeper green to the base of the coral reef here. I could have added more coral within that as well, but I wanted to keep this card fairly clean and simple. And the good thing about these dye inks is that as they dry into the paper, they do settle down and the colour does even out. So sometimes if you think you've ruined something, step away for a while and then come back. And it's not as bad as what you thought. Right, now to work out where my diver's going, I just simply held the silhouette in place and then used my stamp positioning tool and some obsidian black ink. I could have masked off the bubbles here, but I didn't mind them being in black like they're going up to the surface. But I did decide to come in and add some more of the gouache here, mostly because it just adds a little bit of extra highlight around the image. But I could also kind of mix it in with that red ink that had gone into the green, blue, green. I added a sentiment from the set. Told you, there's lots of good sentiments in this set. And of course I had to draw my spotlight. After the ink had dried, I came in with a fine liner. I did sketch it a little bit with a pencil first, but tried not to overthink it. It's a silhouette, no one's going to know. And this is technically a 1-layer card, although I did add it to the front of an A2 card. But in my book, that's technically a 1-layer card. And all together now we've got both cards. The 2 ways that we've framed our underwater scene, starting with this negative space, like this fishbowl focal point, and turned it into a shaker card with some fun iridescent sequins. And our second card, where we literally have a spotlight creating a frame for the focal point of this card. Let me know in the comments below if you have a favourite card today, or if you're going to try either of these techniques, or if you've even got a better way that you think you could frame an underwater scene. I'd love to know. And don't go anywhere, because I've got 2 more videos here for you to enjoy, and I look forward to seeing you there. And if you liked today's video, don't forget to click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, subscribe. What are you waiting for? It's totally free. I'll see you back here again real soon. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.